This is Wrestling with Wrestling Past Present. I'm Tim Kurt.
And I'm Roland Lewis.
And today we are covering the infamous pay-per-view Survivor Series 1997.
Gang Rules.
Gang Rules.
With a Z. R-U-L-Z. This is, of course, the Montreal Screwjob.
Yes.
Nobody cares about anything else that happened on this show, and rightfully so. Some of it was pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. I know Tim and I kind of discussed it a little bit yesterday, that it was a little underwhelming.
It was. Yeah, it was kind of, you had some fall asleep moments.
Yeah, I mean, some of it was pretty good, but some of it was not.
Yeah.
A lot of it was not, actually.
And we'll get into it. It's also noteworthy, this was Kane's first match in the WWE as well.
Match, yeah.
His actual match. Not his debut, but his actual first match. We'll get into that a little bit later. So it's a little bit more noteworthy than the Montreal
Screwjob. There is some stuff in here, but I mean, there's a lot of not some stuff.
Yes.
There's a lot of less than ideal match combinations, and I mean, they sure as heck fed the Survivor Series elimination matches on this pay-per-view.
They did, yeah. There's 4 of them.
Yeah, which is weird because a lot of the newer pay-per-views only have 1 or 2, or maybe 3.
And a little different too. These were all 4-on-4 matches as opposed to typically it's a 5-on-5 deal.
I think 10 guys is too many people, anyways.
It is,
especially for camera angles and stuff.
Yeah,
you have like 4 guys on each apron, on each corner. It's just a lot to see around. Like when they do the older ones, when they do the tag team matches, and there's 10 guys on each side.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, this is a cluster. But I mean, 5-on-5 is still a lot of bodies too.
So there's 7 total matches, and we will get started with the first one, which is a 4-on-4 Survivor Series elimination match. You have the Godwins, Henry O and Phineas I, Hog and Pig.
Yeah, get it? They were pig farmers. Get it?
They're going to team up with the New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, and Road Dogg is with 1 G at this time.
Which was, it's funny to see that on the back of his shirt.
Yeah.
Road Dogg. The D.O. single G.
They're going to get the win over the Headbangers and the New Blackjacks, which was Blackjack Bradshaw, JBL, and Blackjack Wyndham.
Barry Windham. Was it just me, or did Barry Windham look like he was 80 in this match?
I know.
And he's not even that old. Like, I went back and looked up his age. Like, he was like 37 at this time.
Yeah.
Like, he was like not even 40, and he looked so like old and just slow motion. Everything he did in the ring. It's like, wow, he had a hard career apparently. Because like I said, in '97, he wasn't even that old.
So I thought the match was all right. I mean, it wasn't anything spectacular. I mean,
it was better than the next match.
Yes.
not to get ahead. It was definitely better than the next match.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, it was. The one thing that I will point out, and I mentioned it to Tim also, is that it seemed like all of these Survivor Series matches this year were like 4-on-3, then 3-on-3, then 3-on-2, then 2-on-2. Like, it was like 50-50 booking.
Yeah.
It was never like a 4-on-1 advantage or a 3-on-1 advantage. It seemed to be even pretty much, it'd be a one-person advantage for most of the match. And then it would just even up, and then one again, and then it just seemed like that's the way it went.
Yeah, I mean, we'll run down the eliminations real quick if you're interested here. Henry O. Godwin's going to be the first one eliminated by Bradshaw, about 4 minutes in there. And then Barry Windham is going to get eliminated by Phineas.
So now we're even again, 3-on-3.
Now we're even. Mosh will get eliminated by Billy Gunn. And then Phineas gets eliminated by Thrasher.
Oh, 2-on-2.
2-on-2. Bradshaw gets eliminated by Road Dogg. And then Thrasher gets eliminated by Billy Gunn.
So, I mean, it ended up 2-on-1.
It ended up 2-on-1.
And then 2-0. So, I mean, it was 50-50 till the last 3 guys.
3 guys. Yeah.
So, but, again, nothing too special. I mean, this is back when the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn were just starting the team together after the Rockabilly and the roadie gimmicks. Rockabilly was horrible. Came out with the honky tonk man. They thought it was a good idea. That was a horrible idea. But, it furthered that a little bit and gave them some good heat for winning because, I mean, they were the heels technically, I guess. I mean, I don't...
Yeah.
The crowd didn't really care either way, to be honest with you.
No.
I mean, they were probably just glad the show started at this point because I don't know how long they had to wait. They might have had some dark stuff before. There's nothing on our list here, but they must have had something before that they might have done. But, I mean, I would imagine they were just happy to, see the show itself start. I mean, they're waiting for Hart and Shawn Michaels anyways at this point. So that's
they're building that up throughout the whole thing.
They've been building that up for like 18 months at this point. And that, they have to know that, and you're in Montreal for one. If we didn't mention that, you're in Montreal. The fans don't care about any of those guys. None of them are Canadian. They just they back their Canadian superstars.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and any of the newer Jericho, any of the newer guys that are from that, no matter if they're face or heel, they're behind them.
Yeah.
So good, bad, or indifferent. And I think they're probably just happy to see the show start. And like I said, it wasn't a terrible match, but the things I noticed, other than you pointing out the Road Dogg thing, was how slow motion Barry Windham looked.
Yep.
And like I said, he wasn't even that old. He was upper 30s. And the Headbangers, they got over a little bit when they first came on, and their gimmick didn't last very long. But nothing here other than the Outlaws and JBL having become JBL down the road. Other than that, nothing really came out of these matches.
No, not really.
Out of this first match, rather. So, I mean, you had the New Age Outlaws. I mean, Billy Gunn's 57. He's still wrestling today.
Yep.
He was just on AEW this past Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks like $1 million still at 57.
Yeah.
And Barry Windham's 37 in this match, and he looks like he's 100. So that just, I mean, Billy Gunn's a physical specimen anyways. But yeah, that's all I can really say about that match, honestly. That I can pull out of my recollection that was worth remembering.
Yeah, I mean, those are pretty much the most noteworthy things about the match. Not too many noteworthy things about this next match. It's another Survivor Series 4-on-4 elimination match. You have the Truth Commission, which was the Interrogator,
which was Kurgan.
Yep. The Jackal, which is Don Callis.
Yep, good call.
Recon, which was Bull Buchanan,
and Sniper. Sniper never became anything else. But yeah, it was funny when I didn't realize until they first came out. And I sent you the screenshot of this. When they made their entrance, there was a sign that said, and first thing Tim said back when I sent him the picture, he's like, oh, you can't get away with that now. There was a sign that said something about The Undertaker not being a homo or something. I'm like, what random, like...
I know.
But yeah, when I saw them come out, I remember seeing Recon being in the front. And I'm like, holy crap, that's Bull Buchanan. Like, right off the bat, I'm like, that's Bull Buchanan, no kidding. I didn't even know it. But yeah, it was interesting.
They're going to get the win over the Disciples of Apocalypse, which is 8-Ball, Change, Crush, and Skull, in about 10 minutes. It's kind of a short Survivor Series match here. The Truth Commission had this kind of like military...
Yeah, well,
Russian soldier kind of gimmick.
And by their names, I mean, you could tell what they were kind of trying to do with, Interrogator, Recon, and Sniper. And it's just, I don't even know exactly what the point of it was. I mean, I know they had Don Callis on after he got eliminated on commentary for a little bit, trying to explain what the commission was, because I don't think anybody knew either. But no one cares.
Nobody cared about
the part I like about the match too is that JR during the match numerous times was like, we're gonna call this one 8-Ball, because I don't know which one of the Harris brothers this is, so it's either Ron or Don, but we're gonna call him 8-Ball. It could be Skull, we don't know. But it seemed like every time he didn't know which brother it was, he called it 8-Ball. We're gonna call this one 8-Ball. So, but I mean, other than that, there wasn't much that came out of this match.
No, not really. We'll run down the eliminations real quick. Change was the first one to get eliminated by the Interrogator, then the Jackal by 8-Ball, Recon by Skull.
Probably called 8-Ball by JR.
Yes. Then Skull by Sniper.
Probably called 8-Ball by JR.
Then 8-Ball, probably called Crush by JR.
Called Skull this time.
He's eliminated by the Interrogator. Then Sniper's eliminated by Crush. And then Crush is eliminated by the Interrogator. They kind of really built up the Interrogator here to be this dominant kind of badass, but...
No, I mean, it was nice that, again, this wasn't as necessarily 50-50 as some of the other matches were. They did have an advantage for a little bit. But yeah, no, they made Kurgan, look like a big badass.
Yep.
I mean, he's a big guy.
He is a big guy.
That was one of the things they said too. Like, look at his neck. Like he had shoulders for neck.
And then they turned him into one of the oddities.
Yeah, wow.
With Golga.
Which was Earthquake.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I don't get the whole Truth Commission. Like you said, I don't know.
Next up, we have another 4-on-4 Survivor Series match. We're starting off with 3 in a row here.
Nice to see they break them up, though.
Yes. So this one is you've got Team Canada versus Team USA. Team Canada is represented by the British Bulldog, Doug Furness, Jim Neidhart, and Phil LaFawn.
Now, mind you, one of these guys is Canadian.
Yes.
Can you pick out the one Canadian guy?
That would be
Phil Lafon.
Phil Lafon, right?
Yep. Yeah, Bulldogs from England.
Yep.
And Doug Furness was a U.S. Olympian, I believe, or U.S. Wrestling. He had something. I remember JR mentioned that. Neidhart's from like Arizona.
Yeah.
And then you have the one French Canadian guy in Phil Lafon.
And Team USA is represented by Goldust, Mark Marrow, Steve Blackman, who's making his debut here.
Yeah, that was an interesting storyline.
Yeah, he came in. They kind of played him up as a fan that jumped the crowd.
Yeah, Vader was getting the tar beat out of him, and Blackman tried to rescue him, and then Vader ended up having to like fall on him to protect Blackman.
Yeah,
it was an interesting. I didn't remember that.
I didn't remember that either.
That was kind of neat. I will say it was nice going back to watch this because now you at least know where Blackman came from.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an interesting storyline at the time because they played him up as just a martial arts expert that was a fan.
Yeah.
Obviously, breaking down the fourth wall. Clearly, he had a contract. He wasn't just a fan. But it was cool. It was a cool storyline at the time.
Yeah. Vader rounds out Team USA, and
I kind of spoiled that, didn't I?
That's all right. And they're accompanied by Sable,
which the whole time Jerry Lawler was very worried about Sable's whereabouts the whole match.
Yes.
King was keeping a close eye on Sable to make sure nobody got hurt, nobody got near, nobody. He was all over it.
The King's a good person like that.
Yeah, puppies. But anyways, yeah, he was. This might have been a little bit before puppies, but
I think it was.
This is the prelude, the precursor to puppies.
So Team Canada will get the win in about 17 minutes here. I thought, it's a solid match here. I mean, again, I don't really take away a whole lot from this match.
Other than Goldust not wanting to participate.
Yeah, Goldust didn't want to participate.
He had a cast on his hand, and he just broke up from Marlena, and they mentioned that too, that JR was kind of overselling. He's leaving his wife and his family. Like, what's the point? He's unchained or whatever. That's what the FU on his face means. He's leaving his family.
Yeah.
And again, they end up not being together in real life down the road. So I don't know how true that was at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But WWE, WWF has always been able to blur that line.
Yeah, between reality.
Yeah, so you don't know if there was already trouble at home at that point, or
Yeah.
if they were just playing something that turned into be trouble at home. Because like we said, they're not together now, and they broke up shortly after this.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I do remember they had the whole storyline. I think it was with Brian Pillman, and that was.
Yeah, that was like Lana and Lashley
Yeah.
and stuff. Like the beginning of that, like it made you cringe watching it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Pillman being the loose cannon character made that so good. But you look at the Rusev Lana Lashley thing, that sucked.
Mm-hmm. Oh god.
At least with Pillman, you had that believable kind of psycho, nobody cared about Lashley or Rusev that way.
In that storyline, they just kept dragging it on and dragging it on.
It was, not good. But, I mean, like you said, they had that. At least you had someone that was believable in, like, hey, this crazy mother effer might have just done that. Like, that might be what's going on right now.
Wow.
So, at least kind of blurred the line that way. And then, like you said, it was more kind of the debut of Blackman. They were talking that story up. And JR was also upset about Doug Furness joining Team Canada and having his allegiance to Canada after him being an American hero.
Yep.
So the commentary was really good on the show. I will say that. JR, especially early JR and the King, they had some awesome calls.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that.
Next up, we get.
We didn't run down the eliminations.
Oh, we did not. I'm going ahead
to
of
quote
myself.
Excalibur, give the people what they want.
Yeah. All right. So Steve Blackman gets counted out here as the first elimination.
They play up he doesn't know the rules.
Yeah.
He didn't know he had to get back in the ring.
Vader's going to eliminate two people in a row here, Jim Neidhart and Phil Lafon.
So the only Canadian guy is now out of the match.
Yes. Mark Merrill will be the next one eliminated by Doug Furness. Goldust will get himself counted out.
And the way he got counted out is the whole time Vader is trying to tag him in.
Yeah.
And then finally, he cuffed him so hard, he got him good. Like, slapped him in the face to tag him in, and then he came in the ring and just left.
Yep.
So he kept drawing off the apron and pointing at his cast and stuff and saying he couldn't get in there. But yeah. So 2 countouts in this match from the same team.
And then Doug Furness gets eliminated by Vader, and then Vader gets eliminated by the British Bulldog, so the British Bulldog is your sole survivor.
Yeah, I mean, it was, again, it wasn't bad, but it still, the first 3 matches here leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
The card did not. I mean, the Team Canada angle was at least hot with the fans there because it was Team Canada. But again, if you look at it, there's only one actual Canadian.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the Bulldog and Neidhart in the Hart Foundation, so that kind of gives you, a lot the allegiance to the Canadian fans. But again, only one actual Canadian on Team Canada.
Hell. So we get a break from the Survivor Series matches now. We have a singles match. It's the debut of Kane in the ring. It's not his debut. He made his debut at Bad Blood in that Hell in a Cell match between Shawn Michaels
where he ripped the door off.
He ripped the door off. He's accompanied by Paul Bearer here, and he's going to get a win over Mankind in about 9.5 minutes. And they really built up Kane to look like this big monster.
Well, it goes back to what we said when we had the Snitsky and Kane match, like how Snitsky put Kane over. Mankind put Kane over hard here.
Definitely.
The same kind of build-up where everything that Kane did was brutal. And the same thing, like I said, with Snitsky doing it to Kane, or putting him over, it was similar in the same kind of way, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it was just a dominated performance.
I mean, Mankind kept playing, I'm going to keep getting up, and but he was getting knocked down hard a lot in this match. Yeah. But I mean, Mick Foley made a career of that. So.
Yeah.
Mick Foley, McFlurry, whatever.
McFlurry.
Yeah, whatever you want to call him.
So that's the thing I took away from this match, was just how dominant they made Kane look. And yeah, like you said, Mankind really selling for him.
And to be fair, the card kind of picks up from here down. It does get better. This is the 4th match. There was 7 altogether. This is where it kind of gets better. Because even the next match is a 4-on-4 elimination match, but it gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
Not great, but it does get a little bit better than the first 3.
Better.
So, but yeah. Like you said, they're setting up the feud. I mean, how long did it take The Undertaker and Kane to actually have their first match?
I know.
It took forever because Undertaker said he wasn't going to face him. Mm-hmm. So, they're building him up as a badass. As he's doing the Undertaker's moves, the tombstone and choke slam and all that stuff, sitting up, being the Undertaker's brother. The brother.
And if you were looking for another Survivor Series match,
boom,
we got another one for you. We had one little respite there. This one is Ken Shamrock and Ahmed Johnson with the Legion of Doom, Animal and Hawk, taking on the Nation of Domination, which is represented by Farouk, Ron Simmons, D'Lo Brown, Kama Mustafa, who's also the Godfather, and some guy named Rocky Maivia.
Yeah, I wonder what came of that job.
I know, whatever came of him. You might know him as The Rock.
Dwayne
The Rock Johnson.
Yeah. It's too bad that he didn't do anything with his career.
I know.
I mean, that guy, he had such a, and this is 1 year
He could have made it in Hollywood, too, probably.
Oh, yeah, maybe. He had a good look.
He
did. I do remember seeing him doing something recently. It couldn't have been that important, but, I don't know. It's too bad nothing came of that guy. He had a good look. And it's notable that this is his 1 year anniversary. He debuted last year at Survivor Series, and he went from like the baby face, the happy-go-lucky character, the dancing around, fresh off the Flex Cavana character that he had in developmental, to Die Rocky Die.
Yeah.
To he in 1 year he had a lot of emotions in that 1 year.
He had a lot of heat from the crowd.
Yeah, and it's weird because he didn't really do anything to get the heat.
No.
People, I think it's kind of like the Roman Reigns thing where you get force-fed somebody.
Yeah.
And I think the WWF was kind of, at that time, force-feeding the people The Rock and, Rocky Maivia, and I think they didn't want it. For whatever reason, they just didn't. So then they had, like I said, he wasn't on the scene for more than like 3 months, and he's getting Die Rocky Die chants. It's like, why? Like, he didn't do it. I mean, it was weird.
We'll run down the eliminations here in this one.
I like the promo ahead of time with the Legion of Doom and
Ahmed and Shamrock.
That was a pretty nice. I mean, the Road Warriors, for what they are, they always had really. It was kind of like the Ultimate Warrior, where like you didn't really know what they were saying, but they were intense in your face, and they just kind of drew you in. You're like, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
you're right. I agree.
You're right, Hawk. Yeah, I don't know what you just said, but you're right. So, but yeah, and I will mention that before this match, they did have a pretty great promo.
So Hawk will be the first one eliminated by Rocky Maivia. And then Farouk gets eliminated by Ahmed Johnson. I'm a little surprised there. I thought Farouk might have lasted a little while since he's like kind of the leader of the Nation Domination.
Good point.
And then Ahmed Johnson's next by The Rock. Kama Mustafa gets eliminated by Animal. Then Animal gets counted out. And then Ken Shamrock will eliminate D'Lo Brown and Rocky Maivia, and he is the sole survivor for his team.
So other than Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg, every match had a sole survivor.
Yes.
Every elimination match had a sole survivor.
Mm-hmm.
So, predictable 50-50 WWE booking.
Pretty much.
But I will say that it's almost like they don't know how to build, like you said, with the Farouk thing and the Ahmed Johnson, the storyline they had there of how Farouk had, punctured his kidney or whatever he did when he kicked him, and all this stuff. How can you not build a storyline around those two guys in this match? And they're eliminated so early.
Yeah.
And they made Shamrock look like a badass, which he is. He's still around, relevant today.
Mm-hmm. But
you had so much here that you could have continued. So it's almost like they didn't really know what to do, which, it was almost filler at that point. It was still a decent match.
Yeah.
But it was almost like they didn't have any direction.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of like, not to get into, Tim and I had this conversation yesterday too about the whole Retribution thing.
Yeah.
It could have been so good if they had a direction.
Yeah.
They just
don't.
They just do things to do it, and then they're like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
So it happened then because that, I know they kept that Farouk Ahmed thing going for a little bit, but, then they had The Rock taking the nation over from Farouk. But it felt like they could have dragged it out and done a little bit more with it and made it mean more.
Yeah. No, I agree. Next up is a singles match for the Intercontinental Championship between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Owen Hart, who's the champion.
This is a quick match.
There's a storyline here. This was coming off the botched Tombstone Piledriver. I believe it was at SummerSlam this year, where he dropped Stone Cold on his neck.
And Austin goes to say that when he talked to Owen about this, Owen told him he was going to do it and he was going to fall on his ass.
Yeah.
And Stone Cold goes, you mean you're going to go on your knees, right? And he goes, no, I'm going to fall on my ass. He's like, you mean your knees, right? And he goes, no, I'm going to sit down. And the third time, Austin just let it go. He's like, oh, he must know what he's doing. So Austin knew in SummerSlam that there was going to be an issue if he did it. He tried to get Owen to realize that there was going to be. And that's one of the more vicious injuries you've seen in the ring in real time.
Yeah.
Obviously nobody really saw the draws one per se. There's still clips of it here and there, but it wasn't on pay-per-view when it happened.
No.
But to go back and watch this, 23 years later after it happened and notice that Austin had a career after this is amazing. Because you watch, it makes you cringe every time you see it.
Yeah. His
head is like 4 inches below his legs, and he just dropped, Austin weighs what, 250-ish?
Yeah.
Right on his neck. Right on top of his head.
Yeah. It was a nasty...
I know Owen wasn't trying to hurt him.
No.
It's just... and that's one of the things too that it's unfortunate that Owen passed away not shortly thereafter this, but what 3 years or so after.
2 years or so.
So it's unfortunate because they never really buried the hatchet either.
No.
Owen was afraid to call Steve, and Steve kind of wanted Owen to call him, and they just never. JR tried to get them together, and there was just never before Owen passed away. And then Steve to this day still feels a little empty that they didn't have their closure moment of like, hey, I get you didn't mean to do it. Like, hey, sorry, I did it, and they just never. Owen was afraid and didn't know how to talk to Steve about it.
But they played up the neck injury in the storyline. One part of the shirt is at Owen 316. I just broke your neck.
Yep.
So that's the whole storyline was based around. In this match was based around that injury.
Well, and I'm wondering if this match was quick because of that too.
That's what I was thinking. With Stone Cold was probably very limited in what he could do.
Yeah, he probably. I don't even know how cleared he was. Clearly he was cleared, but how how much of a bill of health did he have at that time?
Yeah, I remember listening to one of the Conrad podcasts. I think it must have been Bruce. And he was saying that, he could do stunners because the stunners actually didn't have any impact on his neck.
Right.
Which is kind of weird because you would think of the way
you would think sitting like that would jar your spine would do it. But yeah.
So he was clear to do because he kept stunning people throughout the whole time off. So he was probably could do a little bit in the ring, but not a whole lot. So I think that's why the match here was only 4 minutes long.
Well, and there was a lot of gaga with the Hart Foundation too at one point. Especially afterwards, both Furnace and LaFon got stunned afterwards. But yeah, for what it was, and the worst part about this is they put it on right before the main event. It was going to be a 4-minute match. It could have went on way earlier in the show.
Yeah.
It could have went on like 4th, and you could have put the Kane and Mankind match right before this, and you could have had 3. You could have had 2 really good matches. This could have been a good match if Austin could have done more. It's just it was a 4-minute match.
Yeah.
And you figure the entrances take a minute. and then the exit takes a little bit. So I mean, they were out there for like 6 minutes.
Yeah,
there wasn't much there.
No.
So it's unfortunate, and like you said, obviously Austin could stun people, and that's about it.
All right, here we go. This is why we're all here. What everybody thinks of when they think about Survivor Series 1997. It is Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart for the World Heavyweight title. It's the famous Montreal Screwjob.
I forgot how this match started.
I did too. Yeah. There was so much brawling on the outside.
Awesome. The fans did a really good job of getting involved in this in a way where it didn't hurt the match, but you could tell how much they hated Shawn.
Yeah.
There was a lot of security because they knew obviously they were going to do it. So luckily they had enough security to keep but the fans in Montreal were rabid during that match.
Oh god, they hated Shawn. I mean, they kept, like you said earlier in the show, they built this up for about a year and a half.
Well, you had the Shawn lost his smile, and then you had the WrestleMania the year before this from the Iron Man match. I mean, there was a lot here.
The Sunny Days comment.
Yeah. I mean, and the funny thing is that Shawn's the one that said that to Bret, and Shawn was the one screwing her.
Yeah, I know.
So that's kind of funny if you look back on it. But it's just this is the reason why everyone bought a ticket to this show.
Yeah,
hands down.
No. Besides the Godwins, but
no, I was going to say the DOA.
The DOA,
with the Truth Commission. But, the funny thing is, this is a 12-minute match according to the page, but they probably had 8 to 10 minutes of stuff before the match.
Yeah.
So this was like a half-hour segment. This is the reason people were here, and I think the fans, other than the finish, got what they wanted.
Yeah. And I will admit, watching this back, it was kind of odd to watch it because you knew what happened.
Yeah, and like I said, I forgot the match started the way it did, so I forgot that Pat Patterson and those guys and Vince were already out there once.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot they were out there before the match even started. And it's funny that they disappeared and then came back out again, essentially. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, it was... You would have thought, having that match start the way it would, that they would have just hung out there in case the match... I mean... If you're Bret, he said too after this that he made the mistake of letting them put them, because I can't remember who it was, but somebody told Bret, don't let them get you in a situation where they can screw you.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who Bret talked to, but Bret had said, that was the mistake I made, is I let them put a submission on me. He goes, if I hadn't let them put a submission on me, they couldn't have screwed me.
Yeah.
How would they have screwed him? And he even had to help Shawn on that finish, which way to put the legs, because Shawn crossed him the wrong way.
Yeah.
So, and the infamous thing, too, of what happened after the match, there was supposed to be a run-in. Kyoto was supposed to be involved in this. He was supposed to go out. Owen was supposed to deck him. Like, I just heard this on, Conrad did a thing with Mike Kyoto this past Monday, and he got into this. He was supposed to be the other referee out there, because Hebner was supposed to take a bump. Kyoto was supposed to go out, and then Owen was supposed to grab Kyoto as he was trying to count 3 by the belt and throw him out of the ring. So, like, they were already at Gorilla waiting.
Yeah.
And this is the infamous thing from when, as the match happened, the match ended, and it's the infamous thing of them doing the Davey Boy impression. They fucked him. Because they didn't know what happened. Because everybody's like, what happened? And British Bulldog in his accent goes, they fucked him. Like that, and that's how this went. Like, nobody knew. And it went from a great match to what the hell did we just see?
Yep.
Like that.
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I wish I was old enough to watch this live and kind of understand what was going on.
I don't think a younger fan knew. I don't think. I mean, a lot of the smarter older fans knew Bret was leaving, but I don't think the younger fans, the 8 to 12-year-old fans, knew what was going on. The younger
I don't think
kids,
so.
I don't think they had a clue.
No, they didn't. They didn't know that Bret. I don't think they understood. I mean, Bret was going to WCW, and they didn't want him to. They didn't want to take the belt. And there's stories that he was going to drop it the next night on Raw. He didn't want to lose it in Canada.
Yeah, he was going to show up on Monday after he wasn't under contract and say, "I can't work here anymore. Here's your belt." Yeah. If I were Vince, I wouldn't want to do that either. Knowing that Medusa just took the belt, right?
Medusa did the same thing, throwing the belt in the trash on Nitro.
Yeah, you cannot. If you're in a competition, you have a competitor. You cannot have your belt show up on the other person's show.
Yeah,
you can't. Remember when Flair in '92 came to the WWE with the NWA Championship? Mm-hmm. You can't do that. Like, you can't. Like, you can't let that happen.
No,
if you're
especially,
Vince.
And this is in the middle of the Monday Night Wars. I think this is part of the 83 weeks.
Hey, you can't. If you're Vince, you cannot let this happen. You can't. Now, mind you, it could have been done a little bit differently. I don't know how, but it's too bad that. I mean, I know what Vince had to do, and I know they had to do it the way to get the belt off Brett, but it's too bad it happened the way that it happened.
Yeah,
this is the best way to sum it up. Because this match was a great match.
Yeah, it was a great match. Especially, it sucks that it had to end this way after all the build up.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like you said, a year and a half build up for nothing.
Yeah,
and that's too bad. And a lot of that was because, Brett signed that 10-year deal, and Vince was like, I can't pay you. And he says to this day, Vince says he did it for Brett to help him get a deal where the money he got from WCW, that he feels he did Brett a favor. Mm-hmm. And he might have, but then the WCW went out of business anyways. So but Brett, his contract got honored. It was a 3-year deal, I think worth about $9 million. I think he got about $3 million a year.
Yeah,
guaranteed. So I mean, obviously Vince kind of did Brett a favor if you look at it that way. But like you said, the build up to have it end the way it ended after all that build up was just unfortunate. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the whole time we're watching it, we know what happens.
Yeah.
So that was too bad too, because we knew. I forgot I got there.
Yeah.
So, but it was definitely the reason. The thing I took away from this is the fans were rabid for the match.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they were so definitely behind Brett, and so much heat on Shawn.
Well, and think of all the stuff that had happened before that with Brett's sister, with Davey's wife, Diana. Mm-hmm. We covered it.
We covered it at the One Night Only.
Yeah, with originally Davey was supposed to win that match.
Yeah.
Up until the 59th minute, up until the very end, he was supposed to win it, and they supposedly Shawn was the one that got that change last minute. That we'll be more heat if we do it this way, which it was. But Davey dedicated the match to his dying sister, and then he loses.
Yep. So
there was a lot leading up to this, and it just kind of fell flat based on what they had to do, and some of their hand was forced, unfortunately. Yeah.
So that is our rundown of Survivor Series 1997. Overall, not the best of show that we covered. I'll probably give it maybe like a 5.5 rating.
I would give it a 5. Right as you said 5.5, I held up my hand for 5. So it was a halfway, middle of the road pay per view, saved by the last match and saved by the Kane Mankind match. Like I said, I wish if they were only going to do 4 minutes for Stone Cold and Owen, they should have put that match out sooner. And they could have had that Kane match second to last.
Yeah,
I think it would have made the show a little bit better. I might have given it a 6 because at the end of it. It's all about how you finish. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you had that awesome match going into the Brett match, it would have made it a little less. But because you had a 4-minute match followed by the Screwjob, it definitely didn't help the pay-per-view as much as it should have.
So, yeah, I think it's kind of, like you said, a middle-of-the-road show, but, it's obviously one of the more noteworthy shows that we're going to cover.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of 90s WWF, that's one of the things that comes up all the time.
Yeah.
Watch Out Screwjob. And every show, podcast, video show, wrestling show, anything has covered this in one form or another 20 plus years later. Mm-hmm. So it comes up.
So that is the rundown, Survivor Series 1997. Coming up for you next week, we're going to cover another Survivor Series show. About 15 years later, we're going to cover Survivor Series 2012. Which is famous for a debut of a certain faction, the Shield.
Yeah, the 3-headed monster that would run the WWE for a while.
It's still kind of basically running it today for 2 of them.
Yeah, it's kind of like when the Click split up.
Yeah,
you have Ambrose running one company, and you have Rollins and Reigns running the other.
Yeah,
I know he's not Ambrose anymore, but clearly Moxley's doing a hell of a job for AEW. So yeah, it's definitely. One of the more iconic early 2010-ish era show from that decade. Definitely an iconic debut.
Yes.
Because nobody saw it coming.
No, nobody saw it coming.
And that's the best part about some of the stuff we cover is nobody sees it coming.
Mm-hmm. So that is coming up for you next week, Survivor Series 2012.
That'll be episode number 50.
Yes, it will be episode number 50.
And again, we have some big stuff coming for episode 52.
Yep, which is going to be our 1-year anniversary.
We got some good stuff.
Yep, we got some good stuff lined up. I'm excited to get to that show. But
yeah, we're not going to spill the beans. We're going to surprise you guys. But
yes.
we got some interesting, fun things coming.
Yes, we do. So that's what you got to look forward to. We hope that you're looking forward to us next week's Survivor Series 2012. Until then, I'm Tim Kirk.
And I'm Nolan Felix.
And this is Wrestling Past and Present.